Hi, the Sunday School lesson for July 19th is called Good Stewards Faithful in Service. And the scripture we're going to be reading is Matthew 25, 14 through 30. So the session overview talks about how good stewards can also be described as faithful servants. So they're going to use their gifts and their talents and their resources the way their master would want them to. Unfaithful servants are going to do what they want. And so in this lesson, we're at the Last Supper, and Jesus is trying to prepare his servants, his disciples, for life without him. And he tells them a parable. And this is a very familiar parable, so most of us will have heard it before. So let's read Matthew 25, 14 through 18. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and another one bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. Notice that the servants got different amounts. The lesson talks about that the amount of trust we get is based on our abilities, and only God is in a position to determine that. He doesn't expect more from us than what we are capable of, but he does expect us to do everything we can with what he's given to us. The amount of trust we get from God is not our concern, but only the amount of our faithfulness. So 2 of the servants took the money, took risks, and doubled their money for the master. The third was only concerned with maintaining what he had. He had no responsibility because he would just give the master back what he had been given, right? No danger there, so he could go off and have a good time. So now let's read Matthew 25, 19 through 23. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. So the 2 servants who had doubled their money were praised by the master. All right? So they took what they had and used their talents and increased the master's holdings. Good stewards trust God, and in turn, God honors them. Now let's read Matthew 25, 24 through 30. The man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. So since the third servant's explanation was exactly opposite of the first 2, expectedly, the master's response was exactly opposite. The servant was thrown out. And the lesson tells us that when we refuse to use the resources that God has given us for fear of failure, we're being unfaithful servants. We're not trusting God. So, in closing, by giving us certain talents and resources, God has already shown that he trusts us. We have to do the same for him.